The Call Me Successful podcast, Connect series brought to you by Sell by Legal.
So ladies and gentlemen, we're at Raywide Connect, the biggest conference in Australia, about 4,000 Raywide agents all over from Indonesia, Australia, some in Bali, some in Lebanon, some from New Zealand, and no better time to speak to the one and only, the Managing Director of Raywide, Mr. Dan White.
Thanks, Avi.
Thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, excellent. Great to be here, mate. Yeah, good timing, as you say, to be talking.
Great timing. So I want to go straight into Connect.
Yep.
4,000 people all over the world, international. It's been going on for some time. What does it mean for you and your family?
Yeah, I think it's the fourth Connect we've had. We do it every 3 years because we think that's a good amount of time in between to keep the excitement about it, make it fresh and interesting. It's important for us, for the family, really important to it's a good, test for us. Is the company improving? Are we getting stronger? And it's a good sort of period of time to check on that if the group is moving forward. And then I suppose, the magic of the group is the relationships, as you know, the people, the way we can connect, celebrate success and challenge and learn together. So it's a combination of those two things. One is just a good question, is the group moving forward? And secondly, just making sure we're never losing sight of the key thing about the group, which is the people connecting with each other and sharing a common bond. And that common bond is the history of a business that's been around for 123 years. It's evolution over time, sticking with something for the long term, making sure you keep improving it over a long period of time and good things happen. And so, Connect's a really vital thing for us. And we think about it, planning for the next one won't be too far away.
And what about the award stand? Because there's so many of us, right? You pack everyone in. It's a hard job to find, a place for 3,500 people for the awards night. The sense of belonging, the sense of becoming someone better, surrounded by the best people. What did you feel about the awards night?
Well, firstly, it was a real buzz at the night, wasn't there? It was really electric. And it felt that everyone wanted to be there. As you say, only a small percentage of people really got recognised because being on the top of the group's pretty hard when, as you say, with all those people there. Look, I think the whole thing about the group is challenging each other to improve, right? And that's the magic of the group. I think the awards night is sort of the culmination of that fact. And because at the awards night you have officers from Australia, New Zealand, and Indonesia, as you say, the competition doesn't feel like you're competing against the officers down the road. It's really you're sort of really this is the grand international stage. And everyone that got up there was just so excited to be there. And people who didn't get up there last night were still so thrilled for everyone there, knowing the group's improving, the benchmark's getting higher. And at the end of the day, people know that everyone's success in the group benefits everyone. And so those groups that did amazing results last night were recognised, are taking the whole group forward. And I think everyone in the group recognises that and is sort of grateful for that in a sense. And I think that's why it's such a positive night, is that it's all about the whole group success, not just about individuals or the officers. It was a special event.
I think one of the things that Brian talks about and you talk about a lot is curiosity. I think one of the things that came out, the people that didn't get on stage, the people that didn't win, is the curiosity of how do we actually get up there?
Yeah.
What are these guys doing? How do we aspire to be them?
Exactly. And I think that's absolutely right. I think leaders and teams will sit there and say, well, I'm not up there. What would we like? What should we aim for next Connect? Well, what would be a result we're really proud of? How can we do that? And I think the other side to it is the people that do win, and in the environment of Connect, everyone shares so much, as you know, like no one's holding back their secrets or whatever. Everyone's very generous in giving time for others. Megan's there last night, wins number one officer with Dave Walker or Hazley or Matt. If you speak to them, they'll be the first person to sit down with you for a coffee and share what they do and why it works for them and why it might be relevant too. So, being curious is great. I think the groups, if you are curious, you can get a lot of answers and ideas just from having those conversations.
Dan, one of the strongest themes that come out of this conference, in my opinion, was leadership. We spoke a lot about leadership, leading from the front, doing the right things. Speak about our leaders are so open to change and so open to reach out to people. I want to chat a little bit about your leadership, because you took over a very, very successful company in its own right when it was, when you took over. What's the weight of the legacy mean to you when you take over? And when you change, how often do you think about the legacy and how does that impact your decisions going forward?
Yeah, it's a pretty rich history. So it's been around it for a long time and understood history quite well, and the responsibility, I suppose, of every generation to try and make it stronger. So I think the good thing about the legacy is it gives you a really clear purpose. It's just simply to sort of make it better for the next generation. that idea of custodianship is a really powerful one for my generation. And it's quite liberating because the role is just to keep making it better for whenever the time is the next generation takes over, as opposed to you trying to get to a number or trying to sell a business or whatever it might be. It's just trying to grow it for the long term. So I think that's really makes it a lot easier to make decisions, because one thing about custodianship is you can think long term. You can make decisions that may not pay off for 5 or 10 years, but you can do them because you know that you're thinking much longer term in the business. I think that's a really easier way to run something than trying to always get short-term solutions. So while there might be a bit of a burden and maybe a bit of pressure, and you're always going to get compared to prior generations, and people are always going to remember the past as being more better than the present. The old nostalgia that sort of people have. So there is a little bit of pressure on that front, but fundamentally, I think it's much easier to lead a business where there's a clear understanding of your role and what you're meant to be doing, and the fact that you can take a long period of time to your decision timeframes can be very long, and you can keep reinvesting for the long term. And luckily, no one in the family is always saying, "Oh, why are you reinvesting there? That's crazy." The family understands the business, so there's never any debate over those bigger decisions about where should we reinvest. I don't need to, if we want to go and do something that might require a fair bit of reinvestment, there's never any pushback from the family on that front, which makes it really easy.
One of the things, just challenges of leadership, is we spoke to a lot of successful principals today on the podcast. The things that fall their way that they didn't anticipate. Company like Ray White, you've always talked about there's a roadmap, there's strategies, there's strategy alignment between different businesses.
Yeah.
What challenges did you have in the first 5 years of your leadership that you didn't think about or no one saw coming?
So I think it's when you come into a leadership role and there's other leaders inside the business that that you've never worked with before, and they might have been in the business that came through from with the previous generation. And I think coming into a place like my role and being different, I'm similar to my father in a lot of ways, but different in a lot of ways as well. And I think being prepared to make changes to something that was successful because it wasn't my style of what didn't suit my leadership style, or that didn't suit the people that I wanted to relate to were different to maybe the people that Brian used to relate to. So that was the hardest part, is really just sort of being able to respectfully broaden the team in certain ways in with the team that I thought would be able to take us forward in the future. That was the hardest piece, because you say the business was going well. Why change anything? Just leave it.
Yeah.
I was probably impatient. I wanted to make sure we were improving, and I wanted to I knew I needed to make some changes to the team to be able to make that to happen. And that was the hardest part. But easy in the sense I knew what I had to do. Hardest part actually just making it happen.
And is that the biggest sort of pivot point that you had in your leadership at the early stages?
Oh, yeah, that was probably the hardest bit, is sort of is making changes to something that with people that may have my father wanted to. We did a lot of work with the prior generation, and now was going to change this one. That was hard. I think COVID was, as you know, was a big one as well for all of us. I mean, the good thing about COVID, it created a lot of urgency, and there was a real crisis mode, which was a good change up for leadership too, because you could really get in there and make decisions and big decisions quickly, and then people were able to relate to you for those decisions, and there was a lot of focus on the leader. So that was sort of a good thing as well, because I think I was able to express my leadership style clearly in that phase, because all eyes were on you. So that was I think if I look back on it, probably good timing for me in my career, because it electrified really what I was trying to do, and made everything happen faster than what it might have happened outside of that.
So how many people actually report to you now in the Ray White group?
So in our team, so we have about, in Ray White, we have about 300 people in our corporate team. We've got concierge, which Kelly leads, which is another huge team on top of that. And part of other businesses as well that sit outside. But the core franchise all for Ray White's about 300 or so people. Yeah.
I'm fascinated to know, Dan, how do you actually deal with that pressure? Because you've got 300 people that you want to grow their careers, you want to make sure that they have fulfilling careers. And then you've got like 950 principals as well. You've got business owners that you're fiduciary duty to, and you're trying to grow their businesses as well.
Yeah.
So does that stuff keep you up at night? Because you've got about 2,000 people that you have to take care of directly.
I thought you look at it two ways. You could probably look at it, say, well, there's 10,000 members in the group, whatever it might be, and 10,000 members in the group. So that's obviously comes with a certain level of responsibility, can be daunting. The other way to look at it is to say, well, isn't it a great opportunity? You can have an impact on that many people. And there's a lot of people that look for things in their lives to, have a purpose and have an impact on people. And I'm fortunate to know that that exists in just everything that I do. So I know I can make decisions or do something that might be beneficial for a lot of people. And that's really, I think it's a real privilege. People use that word a lot, but it is a genuine great thing to know that every day you can have a positive impact on a lot of people with things you do. And that is usually, to your point though, it's usually by ensuring that our team internally is providing the best service to our business owners and members and making sure that they're given the right environment to develop their skills and be really effective and therefore help business owners and the broader network. So I really see as while there's multiple levels of impact we can have, it starts with having a corporate team that feels like they know they can have an impact on that group, that they know that every day they can also have a huge impact on a lot of people, how they turn up, how committed they are to our network, how much they care for them, how much they're going to make sure that we're constantly improving and we're giving good, honest feedback and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's I think of it as a real a real positive. It gives us a lot of focus and gives us a lot of real meaning to what we're doing.
You spoke about earlier, sort of being a custodian of the White family, the brand, and the group. Do you also see yourself as a little bit of a custodian for the industry as well, given that we have Braywild's got such a big market share in Australia and New Zealand?
I think it's an important one without sounding arrogant at all, but just sort of like if you are the market leader, you should act like one, and acting like a market leader means, being proud of every transaction. And if we're the market leader and doing a good job for our communities, it should lift up, I agree, should definitely lift up the industry. So, yeah, I think we definitely have a responsibility to the industry. We've been fortunate. As we spoke about the last few days, it's an extremely strong industry. It provides enormous opportunity for talented people to do really well. And we've got to make sure we respect that privilege we get every day with the community. And as a market leader, we should be doing it the best.
Is there something about Ray White that and we know that you wish the industry knew or the agents knew us or the public knew about us? Is there like a hidden secret about us that
Yeah,
people don't actually realize?
it's a good question. I'd like to think that the industry, knew that, as you said before, we do care about it. I think hopefully the industry understand as well that we are a family business and we're deeply committed to the long term and to the future. I think a lot of people think we're obviously competitive and aggressive and that sort of stuff. And that I'll get that feedback from people outside the group, and you probably get the same thing as well. I hope the industry understands that we're just trying to provide the best we can for our members and ensure we are remaining relevant into the future. I hope the industry understands that we're 123 years, but I hope people realise that we're still trying to get younger. We're trying to stay as relevant today as we ever have. Make sure the industry knows we're trying to remain at the cutting edge and take the industry forward. I think the industry's not great. Look, you ask, the industry's not good at communicating with each other. It's not good. The collaboration between groups to be able to work together to get better outcomes in the industry could be way better. I think it's probably part of the industry that's probably one of its biggest shortcomings is that the industry is fairly combative and there's not enough communication or understanding of each other. And to be fair, my understanding of other groups is probably not as good as it should be either, equally the other way.
How do we solve that? Is there a way? Is there like something that
Yeah, it's a good question. We do sort of work at it a bit, but there is meetings we do with other leaders of other groups that we could perhaps be doing better. Whatever. I mean, it's interesting. During COVID, we probably worked best together. There was really good work done between the groups because we were trying to keep trading. Remember all the rules about when you can, all that stuff. So we worked well to talk to government about that sort of thing. But then when COVID finished, we sort of went back into our own corners again. So
and there's a lot
unfortunately,
of
probably
money
not
was raised as well. A lot of money was raised.
Absolutely, yeah. The fires, and we raised really, there was important contribution made there. The political campaigns when various tax changes were being done to property. We thought it might affect our investor clients. We worked well together on that. So we're good when there's a crisis, but we're not good when there's just good times, and we should be working together for the collective, for the benefit of the industry and the community. Yeah.
I want to know something about Ray White. So, what do you think? Is there something that we're working on that will surprise the industry? Is there something exciting that that you want to share? Is that something that the word game changer is always bandied
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
but
yeah.
is there something that will move the needle in terms of how we operate better or more efficient?
Yeah, I think I agree with you on the game changers stuff, but it's a word that's thrown around far too easily. And while we're working on things we think can be really, really effective, we're realistic of how long it's going to take. I think if you look at, we spoke about it a bit, the concept before. I think, the work that we are doing about seeking through our platforms to bring our team together more to our clients. I think more transparency for our customers, being able to use, what we call the network effects of Ray White, being able to surface activity across of all buyers across the Ray White to our vendors and showing the transparency on that, I think is really powerful. So we're doing a lot of work with our technology teams to be able to do that. And importantly, I think it's time for us now to communicate directly to the customer on that point. Why is it that in the past Ray White had a bigger brand, which was good for our internal members about how related to each other. But really, the next thing we'd work on is trying to be able to show our end customer why working with a Ray White member is going to bring them unique advantages. And that's from two things. That's really from all three things, really. The size of the group and market presence. Two, the relationships we have through personal relationships, but also through technology. And then finally, through the services we have. So, we spoke about the conference, the great phrase, go fast, go alone, go far, you should go together is probably the key thing we're working on. And that's a campaign we've got coming in this summer.
There's a big change or momentum around telling more stories. Is that something that you're driving? Is that something that you feel like this is why we need to tell more stories to tell people what we are, what we're doing, and why we're doing it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's the key thing. Like, we talk about, about us. Yes, for about, what does the community know about us? What does like competitors know about us? I think we could be far better communicating our story, talking about why we are who we are, where we've come from, and why we think we can do something differently to everyone else. And and we're guilty of it too. You try and find a new message or sort of a new sort of attribute that you try and add to your story, rather than just saying, "No, we've got the story. Let's just make sure we keep telling it well and keep telling consistently." And if a competitor, if it's a different group or it's a boutique or independent, they've got their sort of story. Let them have that, and let's not try and copy it or try and be like them. Let's be ourselves, and that's what I think we could be far better at.
Lot of investment in tech.
Yeah.
Does that scare you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's both things, isn't it? Like a lot of things in life, if you knew how long it was going to take and how much it was going to cost at the start, you'd never have done it. But now that you've done it, you think, "Oh, thank God we did that." So, and then that feels a bit that way with tech. It's been a lot longer and a lot more expensive than anyone thought, but we're really glad we've got it, and we've got some good differentiators and good things happening. Obviously, going forward, in the AI world and everything else, how that's going to play out, another scary thing. Like I said before, it's pretty daunting. But you've just got to go towards it and keep going. I think I was trying to say at the conference. If you do love something and you love the industry, you love the network, you got to invest in it, and you got to invest in a lot of things. We invest in a lot of things, not just tech. We invest in obviously people and premises and all sorts of stuff. But tech is not cheap, and but if you believe if you want to have a strong future, you got to be in the game.
Do you feel, at what point do you feel better about it, knowing that people are starting to use it?
Mm-hmm.
So we look at NPS of clients, but sort of the NPS of the agents and associates, they're starting to love it, they're starting to embrace it. Is there a point where you said to yourself, you know what, this might just work?
Yeah, it's a good question. I do. You go looking for stuff, don't you? You're sort of trying to. I try not to. Funny when I meet the members, I sort of let them bring it up if they're going to bring it up, rather than ask them too many questions. And even the statistics, try and be objective about analysing it. I think the ultimate thing for us is look a lot at our productivity. The good thing about recent years is we have been growing our market presence with the same number of offices. Our businesses are reinvesting more. There are about 40% more members per office than we've had. And that's driven largely by more associates. We've gone from like last 2 years or 3 years, 700 associates to about 2,000 now across the network. That's in Australia. So the business is investing more. We're doing more activity, but we're not complacent. We've still got to improve the efficiency on that. But yeah, I look at the vendor. I look at NPS feedback from vendors all the time, and buyers as well, obviously. But vendors, I go through the reports quite regularly, especially the 10s, the 9s, and the 1s and 2s and things.
Yeah, I see. I noticed you CC'd on some of them every now and then.
Yeah. I get CC'd on some of the ones that sort of if I have a lot of funny, I've got families, got a lot of friends and stuff to get them because the email sent from me, because we heard somewhere that apparently if you send an email comes from the family and you express the fact that we're really keen for your response, you'll get more responses back. So I get a lot of people calling me saying I got your email, and it's just funny because I didn't even know they got sold. But yeah, I think back to your point, the reports on, say, the property portal is good. The transparency clients are getting. We know that people take a lot of comfort in knowing the work's being done, and when they see in the property portal the work's being done, even though they're pretty sure that you're doing a good job, the fact that they've seen it, know there's a system for doing it, it reassures them, and they put it. The feedback comes through strongly. So always looking for signs that it's working, but try not to get too carried away, because you're in a group like us. You're always going to get the first early adopters, the tech guys and the people that love new things. And then you're going to get another group that's sort of pretty fast moving, but then there's always going to be larger groups going to be harder. So I've learned not to get too excited too quickly. But we're definitely making some great progress. The guys have been amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna quickly touch on the portals.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of talk about the portals and what they're doing out there and the cost and everything else. Obviously, you're very conscious of that and the work that Ray White's doing. How has that changed your strategy, and what work are we doing to not combat it, but like get the value proposition for our sellers better?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think there's a lot of talk about the portals. I mean, whatever you say, they do. The industry performs very well. A very transparent market. Customers come to market quickly and get great presence and everything else. So overall, big picture, the work that they've done has been a good thing for the industry, and they're smart people and good businesses, right? So they're going to keep getting better. And so for an industry, we've just got to make sure that we're making sure we're doing everything we can to look after ourselves and our customers. And I think, just simple things like us, like rebuilding our own raywhite.com for the new AI world and making sure we're maximising our traffic. Like we do have, over 4 million people go to Ray White sites, which is a pretty big number when you look at comparables with the bigger sites. So, and the interconnection now between all our, buyer databases are pretty much connected now through the group. So the longer term strategy would be, can we get our content to market early and before, anywhere else, especially before maybe even properties are really ready to go to market on the portals, maybe just once it's signed, can we start alerting buyers digitally about what's coming? And then as we get ready to market, we then go to the portals. Can we provide real traffic through raywhite.com to our customers that's worth something? Would they be prepared to pay for that opportunity or something, especially for our businesses to be able to manage the costs of technology? They're the questions we're thinking of. And we've got the fact that we are all connected on one system. We are Nurture Cloud. We have 2 million phone calls and SMSs a month. 200,000 people going through open homes every month. All that information and propensities in there. We've got to connect that up well, present it, and I think that should be really valuable for our customers. And if that's valuable for our customers, it should be good for our members in either winning more business or being able to be able to recoup some of the investment they're making in tech.
This is what you talk about when you say the network effect.
Yes.
Bring it all together.
Yeah. Network effect. Yeah. Basically, the bigger you are, and the more people use something, the more valuable it is. So we're moment 2 million calls, SMSs a month, and 200,000 open homes. Could we double that? What would happen if we did that? All of a sudden, the traffic to our audiences and being able to sort of go to them quickly with information, especially in the world of AI and discoverability. That's different. So whatever happens in that marketplace, with technology, as long as we're doing the work and collecting information for future propensity, we're well placed.
Do you think like the state borders are breaking down now?
We start breaking down more. But yeah, I think they are. I think the regulation. I mean, the problem with the regulatory wise, they're so different. But I think the way in which businesses operate and the size of them are, we only be there last night to see the how much the network communicates with each other. But we obviously look at the market from a national level, and our biggest and best leaders, they communicate better. Like while in a city, and you're a good example of this, that you can have relationships in the city, but sometimes your best relationships can come with people sort of outside your market because they've got a slightly different perspective on things. The market might be doing something differently. You can pick stuff up on. So a lot of our learning of our people come best across borders.
So speaking of learning, I wanted to ask you this because we learn a lot from the network. We learn a lot from your leadership team and the training sessions that you provide to us. Is there been some learnings from our members that you've implemented or executed into the network? Like it's like a couple of key learnings that change the way you've thought about Ray White and how it should.
Oh, look, yeah. I think that the best, I keep saying to our team that often the best learnings come from the network. It's not from, family sitting around and come up with all these sort of ideas. Like some of the work we're doing with, the work we're doing with some of the early launches with, in Sydney with Uplifts came from Dave Walker up on North Shore. He said, look, why don't we, I'm coming to market early with the property in the make ready phase. Can we find a way to market this out to the marketplace and work with him? Mate, Lancashire and Brisbane wants to do something with trust accounting. He's like, well, why are we doing trust? Like, it's just why are we still doing trust accounts? It's expensive and it's not really providing a service. I mean, I'm taking all the risk of the trust account. So working with him on a solution to maybe bypass the trust account concept. So that's that. I mean, Megan Jaffe, she's taught me so many lessons on leadership. I mean, you know her as well as anyone. She's an amazing leader. The whole concept of getting the balance. Her famous line about one arm around the shoulder and a kick up the back, and the occasional kick up the backside.
She said that to me a lot of times. Yeah,
and it's a great metaphor. The way that Dave Walker's running his business and he's bringing in leadership teams and how he's driving associates. So I keep saying that the biggest asset we've got are our people and their curiosity. It's the biggest thing, and we just like the curiosity of our members is massive. We just got to make sure we're listening. I've just got to make sure I'm listening to people and understanding what they're thinking and doing. And if I'm listening well, then there's so many good ideas throughout the network that will do well.
What does Dan White do outside of this? Outside of running Ray White Capital, outside of running all the other things that you run, like what do you do to get out of it? Because it'll be all consuming, right? At times.
Yeah, work-life balance is not good. Like as you say, you probably know, for us, like in real estate, separating family and work's challenging, right? I grew up as a kid. I used to go to auctions on a Saturday with my father, and on a Sunday he was, he'd take us on a train trip so we could get the kids out of the house, my mother and things. It is hard to separate it. So it is entwined, and I just don't try and fight it. I mean, I obviously got I'm very lucky. I got family and kids and stuff, and touch with everything's going really well. So I just sort of love the whole world, and love the world that I'm in terms of workspace. And like everyone, we try and do some exercise as much as we can, and a couple of sports I like doing. I like surfing, playing tennis, are my two things, and I'm pretty happy in that space. And if I can catch up with old friends, I don't catch up like we all do. We don't catch up with some of our older friends and things like that. And when I do that, it's funny. My kids often say you're the happiest when you catch up with some of your old. I was away with some old friends recently, and they said they haven't seen me that happy for a long time. So it's important, isn't it, to remind yourself of some of those old things. So but I'm blessed.
What keeps you up at night?
I feel like give up at night if I've just got back to every email and text and WhatsApp. And I can wake up at 2:00 and say, oh, God, Oh, look, I think that the future's got, look, there's no question you think, where's this industry and world going to be in 10 years' time? It's a 123-year-old business. We really, where's it going to go? And are we well placed for that? That sort of thing. The middle of the night's can be pretty daunting, can't it, when you wake up? It doesn't matter how many good things happen in your life. You only remember the bad things. I think as you get old, you don't sort of generally deal with that stuff any better, which you think you would probably. But there's plenty of things that keep me up at night if I wake up. But by morning, I'm okay.
But what's the most exciting thing you think it's in the horizon for Ray White and yourself in the next 5 years? What's the thing that's you really excited about?
The most exciting thing I think about is I think the industry's definitely getting younger and there's more opportunity for young people in the industry. I'm more excited than anyone, the ability people now, young leaders to come in and obviously, that includes yourself, and you're already in the business, but
I'm not young
people
anymore,
to come
though,
in.
but
Well, young to me, so yeah. But I'm excited about is that for the leaders that are ambitious and everything else, there is such an opportunity for them to grow great businesses in the years ahead. I think it's going to get the stronger, better leaders are going to do more and more. And I think there's going to be bigger and bigger businesses out there that we're going to see. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they look. The fact that we're going to have businesses, no question, we're doing double what they're doing today, and how we're going to relate to them is pretty exciting. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about. But I think, the quality. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to the quality of our team internally. It's not going to be me, and it's going to be just the environment we set as a family to our corporate team to go after it. Making sure that it's not up to just making sure that we're a good enough team that people take ownership, that feel like they're owners of the business, that drive innovation and come up with new ideas and contribute and be curious. Because it's not all obviously come from the family; it comes from them. So that's exciting. Some great young talent coming through our corporate team. You saw the way they did this Connect thing. I mean, you look at that conference. Like, to think that happened.
It's literally, I can't explain how they did it. We run our own conference,
Yeah,
and see how
Yeah,
they
great
pulled
conference.
together 4,000 people over
I
so
know.
many places.
Like, just some little things I noticed, like just the way in which all the activations had the signage, and the way that how prepared the speakers were, and the breakout sessions were well done, and even just little things like the way they worked on the food, that it was good quality. I don't know if you noticed at lunch and stuff, it was not the old usual just stuff. It was really
It
good.
was a massive change in food.
Yeah. So that was because they guys realised last time wasn't very good. The feedback was that, so they made an effort. They came up, had meetings with the people, had taste tests, just all that stuff. And like I said, the auctionaria, we start the conference with that auction event, and it's happened now 4 or 5 times. You think, how many times can you do that? Like, surely we're done. Like, but yet, how brilliant was that?
It just keeps getting better.
It's
every
getting
time.
better, yeah. So I think, that's absolute buzz to think that those guys had the responsibility. I didn't speak to anyone about the auctioneer. I didn't speak to anyone about the food. I didn't speak to anyone about any of that stuff. So it's a bit of a buzz when that happens. Even like it wasn't last time. The way they did that, and the way they worked all that stuff out, the team, why they put it together. So that's good. We're just going to keep making sure they feel like that, and they keep improving.
It was like running 200 weddings in 3 days. Like,
Exactly, yeah. And there's another sort of one event to go tonight, which will be fun. But yeah, it was incredible. Yeah.
My final question to you, Dan, is what does success look like for you?
Success looks like, for me, I suppose, that ultimately, the members being proud of being part of the group. Like, I think it's important to me that people feel that that they are proud to feel like they're a member of the Ray White family. I mean, I look at that through a hard measure of market share. That we're sort of obsessed with that number because, we just think it reflects whether we are on course and good people are staying with us and growing businesses. But fundamentally, it boils down to, success would be like, I had a bit this time, but the guys come up to you saying, I'm just proud to be part of it. That's what success looks like. Hard to measure, but that's what it's all about.
Well, thank you for your time and your leadership, and thank you for hosting us at Connect. We've had a great time. We've taken away so much, and can't thank you enough for everything that you do for us.
No, I mean, absolute privilege to have you, Avi, and you and your team, and it's great to to host. And let's make sure we have a good period of time with the next one and celebrate again in 3 years' time.
I'm sure we will. Thank you so much, Dan. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.